Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Tuesday weather update for February the 14th. And we're tracking Cyclone Gabrielle as it moves from Great Barrier Island towards East Cape. This is where it was located when we recorded this video, around about 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. It is tracking southeastwards as it heads towards East Cape, and it pulls away from Great Barrier Island, where it's been located for about 12 hours, delivering all that wind and rain along the upper North Island. Now, out in the Tasman Sea, there's another burst of severe gales, and as the storm tracks along like this, it will pull that weather back with it. So we're going to see another burst of strong winds right across Auckland today and tonight, especially on the western side and northern areas where gusts could exceed 130 k's an hour, might even be 150 k gusts hugging that Tasman Sea coastline for a time, and the city itself anywhere between sort of 90 and 130. There could be some areas that are quite sheltered depending on that airflow, thanks to the Bombay Hills and the Hunua Ranges. As we saw overnight, our mountains and ranges make a huge difference as to who is most exposed to the severe weather conditions. And obviously the strong winds around the centre are going to move in around East Cape and Gisborne, with a bit of rain there as well. So rainfall coming up. We'll start with the Gisborne East Cape area. You've got around about 40 millimetres coming through. That's not too bad, but on top of the rain you've already had, it could cause more problems, and there may be some isolated heavier falls. The bulk of the heavy rain is now leaving Hawke's Bay and moving down into the lower part of the North Island and down towards the upper South Island. In fact, Kaikoura, the ranges in there could get 50, 60 millimetres or more over the next 24 hours. And the blue that you see up here around Auckland is at the very bottom of the scale. That's the shower version. So there just could be a few drizzle patches and some showers around today, but it won't accumulate to much. But unfortunately, we've still got another 20 to 40 millimetres maybe to fall around some parts of Northland, where it is already saturated. And where they need rain the most, down in the south there, not a lot on the way. A little bit for Canterbury though. Let's take a look at the water vapour satellite imagery. This was taken across this morning, across Tuesday morning. Now in the dark area, that's where it's dry. The bright white, that's where you're seeing the most amount of moisture. So you can see as the low tracks along towards East Cape, it is pushing down that rain band. So that's what we've seen this morning, that rain move through Hawke's Bay and pushing down into the South Island. The other feature you'll notice is as the storm spins here and starts to drift towards East Cape, it will pull some cloud and moisture back in later today towards that area. So that's why there's a bit of rain coming. But for the most part, the system is starting to fall apart in these northern areas. A little bit of rain remaining, but most of that will fall apart as we go through the next several hours. Here we are this evening, 7 o'clock. So it should be located either close to East Cape, or it might even be just over the top of you. Some of the modelling is in pretty much in agreement though, that's where it'll be, but whether or not it goes over land, not quite sure. But you can see it will pull in those strong winds around Auckland. So they're basically coming out of Cook Strait as gale force winds, brushing past Taranaki and strengthening as they're pulled back into the spin of Gabrielle. So more windy weather tonight, but you might be not quite so windy the further southeast you are, but the further northwest you are, more exposed to those stronger gusts coming in for you. And the windy weather around Wellington does linger overnight tonight. Here we are on Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock. It's still a wet southerly blowing into Wellington, plenty of rain and wind for you, but hopefully not too dramatic for Wellington anyway. And further up the coastline, the low is moving out to sea. 983, I'm not sure why there's another 9 there, but 983 is the air pressure. So that means it's weakening quite fast now as we go through Wednesday. The higher that number goes, the fewer lines there are around it, the fewer the isobars there are, and that means the winds won't be quite as widespread. So there is good news as that storm weakens, and some good news for Canterbury getting a bit of rain. I know it's quite dry there. Windy sou'wester still in the north, but it's much drier, maybe a passing shower or two. As we get to the end of Wednesday, still fairly dry in the north, still a little bit windy, but the winds are really coming back down. So by tomorrow night in Auckland and northern areas where it's been very windy, the winds ease. In the areas where there's been flooding, the rain eases. So that is good news, except just around Kaikoura Ranges, it still might be raining a little bit for you. And that carries on into Thursday too, as the system gets stretched out like the shape of a rugby ball to the east of the Chatham Islands, and there could be a few showers left over. Not much wind on Thursday, not many isobars, which means there's not a lot of wind blowing around. And for Auckland and other northern areas, there might be some isolated thunderstorms or heavy downpours that pop up in the afternoon. That's really what you're sort of seeing in the mix there. But the good news is, by the end of the week, the top of the country back to dry. Most eastern areas are dry. There just might be a little bit of a southerly briefly bringing some showers, but this is the leftovers of the storm. It's really falling apart. And as we get into Saturday, look at that. The storm's gone and high pressure is finally coming in. Got to end on a positive note. There's also no sign of storms in the tropics. A little area of low pressure near Fiji doesn't look problematic at this stage. So a bit of a sigh of relief, I guess, as we head in towards the weekend. Cleanup operations and drying out phases will be well underway. That is all from me for today. Don't forget, go to our website. We've got latest news in our breaking news banner, but we've also got this story up about the stunning accuracy of the computer modelling. This image was taken a week ago or last Wednesday. This is what actually happened this morning. So remarkably accurate. Some of these models were picking it 15 days in advance, well before the storm had even developed. So that is quite, that's a good thing. And it shows that the technology is certainly getting better. So read the story. It sort of explains why we can't always rely on computer modelling, but why this is also a very good thing that's just happened, to know that the forecasting accuracy is certainly in there. That's what I mean by a very good thing. Obviously the storm, that is not a good thing. And I do wish everybody all the very best over the next few days dealing with the cleanup operations. We'll see you again tomorrow, Wednesday, with our next update.